How's it going there?
Oh, sorry. I'm good. Yeah, I go to that.
His class is the only class that has cell phone phones.
I don't think that's but like you never figured it out. He's talking about it.
Well, I said
Whatever you do, I don't think so. Like the fact that he went to that during that hard time, like he wrote about yeah, it didn't really feel like it. That's
There's usually not a line for the bench anyway.
Might identify a different way.
I was talking to your daughter. Austin, how are you?
That's about 4 years now.
I'm gonna find
It's like great. It's like it's cheap. It's like
You do owe me an hour. Pay up.
I have no money.
Everybody's still in a good mood. That's good. I want to send one of these more like Zoom and get terminates.
Attorney Hitchcock crossover things back over.
Okay. I'm gonna start speaking.
Thank you. So my client does have a statement that he wants to finish out on, but before he does, I just have two brief remarks. I have been given several statements from, at least one from a wrestler, and I have been given one from a former teacher. And both of them are, I will spare you the formal reading of them, but I will put this to you. This is from a wrestler, and he says just this. Prior to joining the wrestling team, I was not making great decisions. I had a rough transition to high school, falling in with some bad friend groups and making poor choices. My grades were also failing and not representing what I was capable of. Coach Miller helped me gain structure, self-confidence, and the direction I needed to work towards my potential. The atmosphere and accountability he and the wrestling program provided me made me feel welcome and offered me new friends who were driven and supportive of me making better choices. I ended up lettering, and my grades second semester were significantly better. And I'm sure we could go all across the community here and with the different testimonies similar to the one that I just read. And I think all of us can think of a teacher that we've had that has impacted our life. And I submit to you that all of these people in this room will testify if given the opportunity, and many more besides. Because as politicians, you know, for every person that shows up here, there's 10 more people who think just like them. So for every wrestler who's going to come here and stand up, there's going to be 10 more who think just like them. And for every student whose life this man changed, there's going to be thousands more out there. Somebody's calculated the number of hours that he's taught, and it's something in the 12,000s. Again, all of you will have the opportunity in one way or the other to benefit from the adventures class. Have you ever all gone there and seen the adventure class in action, seen the ropes course? Do you all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I think some of you know from personal experience what this man can do to turn around people's lives. I think you know that. What do you know about him? Because I suspect that you all, and the principal there, I suspect that you all need to learn a lot more. Now, I'm going to point to this woman right here. You all know who she is. She used to be a special education teacher here, and I'm going to briefly tell her story, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Miller. Just like Mr. Miller, she ran afoul of the principal for not being on the Arrowhead way. And what did she do? It's a really good question. Thanks for asking. All she did was ask the administration if they were going to hold themselves to the same standard that they held the students. That's it. To the teachers. And this man specifically told her that question wasn't the Arrowhead way. It took my breath away for a second. This is supposed to be the head of the school district, the one who is setting the example for everybody. And yet, for the mere questioning of whether or not he's going to have a non-hypocritical school district, because we've all talked about modeling and leadership and what this man is expected to do. Right? Thank you, Mr. Ferris, for pointing out we should focus on this man. But at the same time, the man who's making the charges is not the leader that he claims to be. And this community, I think, is telling you that. I'm telling you that. And Mr. Miller is standing up here today and putting his family, his career, his everything on the line to sacrifice for the benefit, not of you, but he's doing you all a favor. He's sacrificing himself for the benefit of these students. And that's supposedly why we're here today. But here we have a man who prioritizes his power and his personal ambition and his feelings and his inability to be questioned even by the most simplest things of, are you a hypocrite? The answer should be no, by the way. Easy, I could pass the test right now. Mr. Farner, the answer, are you going to be a hypocrite? The answer should be no. And you know what? You should take no seconds to answer that. Instead, you take time looking at videos. Time you could be leading the district. You take time ambushing people. You know what happened to this lady here? This man over there in the blue who bullied all the teachers to tell you the false information? He got in her face. He physically got in her face because he was telling him things that he didn't like to hear. In another one of the now classic Farner ambush meetings here, where she's given no notice about what is the purpose of this call. This man has an MO, and you all are now aware of it. You've been put on notice, and you need to do something. You need to save the community for the children, not for this man. Now, he's going to tell you his story. His final summation here to you, and I hope you listen, and I hope you understand here that you have the power to fix this district, and only you. Thank you.
Attorney Hitchcock-Cross, real quick, the two statements that you have, would you like the board to see those statements?
Of course.
I'm happy to.
Sure. I will pass them to you. I don't know that I have copies of them.
That's okay.
I will give them to you in the originals. You can give me a copy back, and he will do his. He'll give his final thing in the interest of time. Thank you for that suggestion.
Go ahead.
Yes, please, sir. We're ready for you. Um,
19 years ago, I remember walking on this campus in this boardroom for an interview. I grew up in the North Woods of Wisconsin. And at the time, I was teaching at a K-12 school up north with a total of maybe 150 to 200 students in the entire K-12 district. The thought of changing jobs to a school of 2,300 students and moving to an area of the state with a much larger population was intimidating, to say the least. But my approach was to keep an open mind and at least go through the interview, because it'd be good practice for other interviews I had scheduled in the coming weeks. It's hard to put into work.
You got this, Chair.
It's hard to put into words what that interview was like at Arrowhead. The best way I can describe it is that from the minute it started, it felt like home. I knew that when I walked out of that interview, this is where I was meant to be. In 19 years, I've been a part of excuse me. In 19 years, I've been a part of so many great things, and I've had the opportunity to work with so many outstanding students, families, and colleagues. It's been a privilege to wake up every day and do something that I am passionate about with people that I love and care for. Together, we've accomplished so much. Our physical education department received a $500,000 grant in order to build a climbing wall and an outdoor ropes course. and developed the adventure program that's still going strong today. Our wrestling program has produced state champions, some of whom have gone on to be national champions and world champions, let alone all the other outstanding individuals that won their first match, did so many impressive things, just solid individuals. I've both taught and been part of the curriculum and development for adaptive physical education classes, allowing for peer mentorship with our special education population, leading me to witness undeniable bonds, remarkable growth, and some of the most rewarding moments of my career. There's nothing better than hearing from past students and athletes about how they've taken something they've learned in high school and used it to become the person they are today. Through all this, what stands out the most is the people. Phenomenal students and athletes, devoted families, and the most talented teachers and coaches in the state, if not nation. I'm thankful these memories, bonds, and accomplishments are something that will stay with me forever. Fast forward to today. This room has a much different feeling than it did 19 years ago. I would never have imagined that this very same room was once filled with administration that made me feel so welcomed, appreciated, and respected. Would someday be filled with administration that makes me feel unwelcome, underappreciated, and disrespected. My job has already been posted less than a week from receiving this hearing notice. And Associate Principal Gordon has reached out to a colleague of mine about the certification requirements for adventure class that I teach. Superintendent Farner and Principal Kurth have already told me that I'm not a good fit at Arrowhead, and that my options were to resign, be non-renewed, or terminated. I hope this board will consider my evidence and the evidence of the lives that I've had the honor to impact with thoughtful, curriculum-backed, student-centered teaching. Teacher's proudest moment is when a current or former student tells you they enjoyed your class and took something with them that they could use in order to lead a happy, healthy, and successful life. That being said, I'd like to share some responses to a question from my most recent performance training final exam. The question is, based on the 5 components of fitness, have any of these components improved for you since the start of performance training? Why or why not? These are just some of the answers to that question. One student said, I have noticed a significant improvement in muscular strength and muscular endurance. At the beginning of this class, my PRs and amount of reps and sets were lower. Now I know to take the appropriate amount of rest time in between sets and can do more reps at an increased weight. Another student said, everything has improved since the start of PT because I've been constantly putting in effort to improve as much as possible. Another student said, I think for sure my muscular strength has improved throughout this class. This is directly a result of the effort I put into weightlifting during this class. Another student said, I would like to say yes. When I first started this class early in the semester, I did have muscle, but not like I do now. My legs have grown in muscle, including toned out. My biceps have grown a lot too. I also feel like mentally, my confidence about my body has improved a lot. I'm just really happy with the person I am now. Because of the workouts and the lifting I've been doing. I'm not going to read through all of them tonight, but you get the idea. It was refreshing for me to read these responses after being told by the superintendent and principal that I wasn't a good teacher or person and my students were getting nothing out of my class. In my 19 years of teaching at Arrowhead, I've only had positive reviews, which includes this past school year. This administration has based their claims for security camera footage with no audio that shows half a teaching space. I'm being called a thief. I've been banned from school grounds like I'm a criminal. And my character is being called into question. Why is time being invested in trying to disparage me and my name when all I wanted was a conversation that included thoughts, ideas, collaboration, and an opportunity to evolve and adjust as needed? When will there be that moment that this school's leadership realize that it's completely gutted this school and its quality staff, leaving it as merely a shell of what it once was? Regardless of the board's decision tonight, I'm left with no good option. I'll either be told that I'm no longer employed here at Arrowhead, or I'm told that I still have a job, which means I'll be working for a principal and administrator who have firmly established a toxic workplace culture based on fear and intimidation. I'll be left to work for an administration that will no doubt continue their bully tactics and retaliate against me because I chose to speak up and question their leadership or lack thereof. It was important for me to stand up here tonight, not just for myself, but for my family, my Arrowhead family, my Arrowhead wrestling family. Tonight, in this moment, I'm modeling what it looks like to stand up to bullies. Thank you.
Board members, any questions for Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller, we've spent a long time watching your class action. I know you criticized the angle and lack of audio, but frankly, I was shocked by what I saw. What should I have seen that makes that all okay?
I think as far as when I had that meeting with them and I watched myself, I referenced what I saw, and I mean, it was indicated. I said, my goal is to be a good teacher. When you see yourself, there's things that you could do differently, better. I don't deny any of that, honestly. Do I think portions are taken? Of course, but that doesn't negate my responsibility to be the very best. I always strive for that. I have no problem being criticized, critiqued, evaluated, anything. I just was simply asking to allow me to work through it. I understand what I saw. I would hope that there was some video that also demonstrated where I was approaching students where I did catch them. There are times when I don't or I didn't. Again, my goal here is not to take ownership or negate that responsibility. I take it seriously. And again, watching myself, I can also critique those things. I don't want kids to get hurt. I want kids to learn. I want them to get something out of my class. There's not one part of me that would want to go and have a class where I felt like students get something out of it. So am I here not taking responsibility? Of course not. I just wish we weren't doing this. I would just like to, I just don't understand, I guess, why we just can't have down-the-earth discussions. I don't understand why a supervisor doesn't walk into the room and say, hey, can you think about doing this? And we can just have a good, solid discussion, and I can say, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Thank you. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking to deny anything. I'm asking for working together. I hope that answers your question.
I think I've got a follow-up one, and I appreciate you taking that on. This one won't be any easy. It sounds like between Becky Gordon and your meeting with the principal and superintendent that you had two opportunities to hear the concerns that were expressed.